As a lot of you guys know, I have been talking up this movie for a long time and I finally got to see it last night and all my anticipation was going through the roof. And I'll say this right now, Superman, directed by James Gunn, was definitely what I wanted and more, and less in some regards. All you have to know going into this movie is that it is quick. It is really off the mark in Superman's primal years. He's 3 years into being a superhero. There's no origin story. You're right into the action. And give the movie this, it never lets up. It never has a chance to slow down. It's already heavy on the action. And it's also a very colourful Superman movie. It harks way back to the old school, bright and optimistic Superman, and just goes full throttle with the wackiness and really establishes the world of the DCU in all of its vibrancy. But as much as I've been hyping this movie up, I'm not going to come at it with too much bias because I do recognise that that can be overwhelming for people, including myself. I was actually thinking the movie should slow down a bit and give us more time with Clark Kent and showing us more Superman elements rather than having to establish the DCU universe. But what we got as Superman is great because I called this from day one. David Corenswet is perfect as Superman and he proves that in every frame. And Rachel Brosnahan, who just absolutely knocks it out of the park with Lois Lane. She's the best Lois Lane we've had in a while. And then you got Nicholas Hoult just playing Lex Luthor to a T. This is the most hateable version of Lex Luthor I've seen in a while. But at the same time, he is a bit flat as a character because even though he is a pure internet hater version of Lex Luthor, I wasn't really quite sure as to what his deal with Superman was, other than some very rushed exposition dumps or philosophical talks. But pretty much every character in this movie stands out no matter how small or big their role is, and the Daily Planet squad, I'm telling you, I want that Jimmy Olsen spin-off. These guys were great. And the Justice Gang, surprisingly. I thought they were going to detract the movie, they were going to be really cheesy. Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion, he's actually really good and a comedic standout. But the scene stealer is Mr. Terrific. I'm telling you, Eddie Gathegi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is absolutely getting a Ryan Reynolds redemption arc for the superhero genre after X-Men First Class just wasted him. Seriously, James Gunn, please announce that Mr. Terrific spin-off series now. In typical James Gunn fashion, you get a lot of fun, bright colours, a lot of humour, but you also get a lot of heartfelt moments, and I feel like this is the best I've seen of Maren Parkent recently. And of course, Krypto, he's just lovable. He's not in the movie too much to the point where it's a nuisance, but he's an absolute standout, and there's one scene involving him and Lex Luthor at the end that made me laugh. What this movie is really all about is legacy and finding a place on the Earth, which is really making me feel like they should have stuck with the original title Superman Legacy. And yeah, I know, every Superman movie is about finding a place, hashtag Superman is an immigrant. I'm keeping it spoiler free here because that's another video, but there's a twist of Superman's heritage. I do realise it's been done in Smallville, but I didn't watch Smallville, this was my introduction for it, and for me, this just worked to make David Corenswet's Superman very unique. Okay, so I'm not going to be glazing this movie. I am going to obviously be a critic here and say what I didn't like about it. Number one, this is a very fast movie and at times it can be exhausting. And the way that Gunn's laid out this universe, it really does feel like we've missed a movie before going into this one. And there's a lot of epic stuff in this movie, but there's also a lot of awkward humour that just feels like it's a bit forced in. And also there is a massive exposition problem in this movie. Like there are so many characters just spewing out stuff that nobody would really say in real life. Overall, what this movie is a great kickstart to the DC universe. It really sets up the vibrancy of this world. It shows there's so much personalities and so much life out there. Gunn has proven himself a great world builder. As a Superman movie, I do feel like he needed more time with the Clark Kent stuff and the Lois Lane relationship and the other characters like the Daily Planet stuff. I wanted to see more of those guys. So providing the fact that this movie is a success, which it does seem to be tracking a lot of money at the moment and it's already scooped up quite a bit, I do feel like the sequel does need to push back the world building and really focus on Superman and the Superman elements. But still, what I got was very satisfying. I love David Corenswet as Superman and I'm loving Lois Lane. I'm loving this world at the moment. I do feel like this did live up to the expectations. There were some things I would have tweaked, but overall this was a solid Superman movie and a good Kickstarter.